Welcome to another edition of Vegas Badboyz of podcasting. I'm DJ Impact, and I got the Badboyz here with me. And welcome to 3 Count. Should be exciting. This is where we get a chance to go over 3 topics that we've searched all over the internet and what we came up with. And interestingly enough, all of the topics tonight seem to come from ringsidenews.com. So, yeah, apparently the main producer stepped away. The executive producer then came in and, he just said, hey, here it is. Boom. So that's how it works sometimes, If you happen to be on, if you happen to be on our Facebook chat, definitely join, throw your comments in because we will try to get them in as we can. Let's kick it off on our first story. This one is titled, Tony Khan says AEW Double or Nothing was a much better show than WWE WrestleMania. So apparently he was speaking. What seems like maybe is another a podcast of some sort. But the quotes that Tony said was, I'll tell you something. Double or Nothing last year and this year, in my opinion, was a better show than WrestleMania. I like this year's WrestleMania a lot, better than last year's. They had some fans this year, and everyone there worked their ass off both years. This year, I thought both were good shows. They did a 2-night show, and it was a good show. But I thought Double or Nothing this year was outstanding, and it was the best wrestling show of the year so far. And last year, Double or Nothing during the pandemic, it kicked the shit out of WrestleMania last year. The pandemic version last year, not even close. Double or Nothing was a much better show. And then the author of the article ends by saying that AEW and WWE are in the same marketplace and they are bound to be compared to each other. We'll have to see if the fan sentiment agrees with Tony Khan's statement, as they are likely to be considered a bit controversial. Well, let me move right over to the fan sentiment of Sin City Steve, and you tell me, do you agree with Tony Khan's statement of what he said in this article?
If we are looking exclusively at night 2 of WrestleMania, then yes, Double or Nothing was better than night 2 of WrestleMania. However, factoring in night 1, which was fucking awesome in my humble opinion, we discussed it on this show, but no, factoring in night 1, I think that WrestleMania was a better show if you include both nights. But if you want to just look at one of the nights, then as long as it's night 1, then yeah, Double or Nothing was better. But yeah, it's obviously, I think that a fair amount of that is Tony Khan speaking with rose-colored glasses, which I would expect nothing more. I mean, he shouldn't go out there and say that another rival company's product was better than theirs. So, I mean, I can't fault him necessarily for saying that. As far as objectivity, yeah, he missed the mark on it.
Interesting. Simon Street, let me go to you. I'm sure you remember WrestleMania night 1 and night 2 this year, and night 1, maybe you remember night 1 and night 2 of last year's as well. But I don't know, does Tony Khan right on this? I mean, he believed that Double or Nothing was a much better show than WrestleMania. What's your take?
First, let me go and say, Tony Khan, cocaine is a hell of a drug. And as John kind of asked the question specifically to Matt in our chat. He says, how much coke was involved before Tony Khan made this comment? Probably was a lot. So, you know what? Let's look at last year's WrestleMania, okay? All right. I will say that he probably had some merit to the comments that he's saying with regards to Double or Nothing. With that, possibly, yeah. Because, as he stated, or this article stated, COVID did kind of shock the system and the plans were halted of what they were going to do with WrestleMania last year. So I could see him possibly having a point. But with this year, I think most of the fans, and I'm speaking for them humbly, will probably equivocally disagree with him with regards to this year. I'm sorry, like night one literally just blew a lot of people away. It was a great night, and I don't see anything that Double or Nothing did this year that could hell and compare to night one, even possibly night two, although night two, obviously we all know wasn't the better night if you're comparing it to the first one. So no, Tony. But hey, that cocaine must be pure.
Let me ask you, Matt Michaels. Of course, you're the one that sent me this article, but I'm gonna let you respond. But let me just something that just hit my my brain. I'm hearing voices in my head. No pun on anything I did on this past weekend. But do you think if he really believes that Double or Nothing is seeming to be a better show than WrestleMania, then maybe he would try to have a WrestleMania size event for Double or Nothing at the, I don't know what the stadium would call, but the Jacksonville Football Stadium. Maybe he would have his own Mania for Double or Nothing during the, to compete against WWE's version of that. Do you see something like that happening?
What are you talking about?
You didn't understand that question at all, Matt?
No, I understand the question.
You might be.
I just want to know what the fuck are you talking about? No, of course. That's it. That's the thing. First of all, don't put that thought out there because I don't want to see. Man. I don't want to see what actually happens if they decide to run the Jacksonville Stadium during WrestleMania. That would probably be devastating to their front line.
It wouldn't go head and head, but because they're what several.
Well, then what did you just suggest?
No, but I'm just saying their Double or Nothing event that they would make it a Mania size event at their stadium.
So okay, let's first off, Double or Nothing is called Double or Nothing because it was in Las Vegas and was always intended to be in Las Vegas on the yearly basis. Mm-hmm. It's the same with All In. I mean, you could say that, well, why don't you make All In that show? Those are your two big shows that have the history of why the company exists, right? If you put it in a big stadium, you could. But the thing is that he isn't arguing the fact that they could draw the same as them. He's arguing the fact that the product was better. And that's the problem here. Yeah, if they fucking ran Jacksonville and made it their big show, I'm sure they would sell a pretty decent sized number of seats. But at the same time, if you really look at the product, honestly, no, Double or Nothing fucking sucked. The first Double or Nothing fucking sucked. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I seriously, in attendance, the only thing I can still tell you is that Cody and Dustin fucking bled to the point where they're still bleeding, I think. And,
oh boy.
And the biggest pop was when Moxley showed up, the hometown guy who, like everyone knew, was about to show up. That's it, man. I'm sorry. So far, their pay-per-views have not been good. And it's easy to fucking take shots at the WWE because you're talking about a company that's been running these for almost 40 years at WrestleMania level. And they also run pay-per-views every fucking month, also with NXT pay-per-views, and eventually here mixing in the UK pay-per-views as well. So until Tony Khan starts running actual pay-per-views, and by the way, WWE, you get it on the network for $10 or $5. So you don't have to pay that fucking price. And by the way, Tony Khan, you might think your product's better, but guess what? Most of your fans pirate the fucking thing anyway. So
yeah. Oh, man.
Hey, it's honest. That's honesty right there. That's honesty.
All right.
Show me that you're selling pay-per-views to the rate that it makes it a success, then maybe you can start comparing yourself to what they do for WrestleMania.
All right. Well, you seem like in the chat you have a Michaela Crow that agrees with you. So there you go. You got someone on your team there.
They obviously have the best taste in the world, and I appreciate it.
All right, let's move over to our second count. Plans already made for Kenny Omega losing Impact World title. It goes as this. Kenny Omega is currently the AAA Mega Champion, Impact Wrestling Champion, and also the AEW World Champion. He has been booked as one of the best champions in recent memory, and his high work rate speaks for itself. Kenny Omega made a name for himself with incredible matches against Okada and Naito in New Japan, and is regarded as one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. But according to Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio, it was stated that Impact Wrestling has already planned who Kenny Omega would drop the Impact World title to, and this was planned even before Omega won the title. We just have to wait to see who will ultimately dethrone Kenny Omega as the Impact World Champion, as he has been booked as a dominant champion so far. Okay, let me jump over to you for this one. Let me come over to you, Michael, this time. This is one of the articles that you found here. Let me ask you, apparently somebody seems to know who he's going to drop this title to. I don't believe that's going to be Sami Callihan. What's your take on the idea that, while all this was put together before they made the announcement of all of this, bringing the companies together and working together, that they already knew who was going to take it? What's your take on what we've seen and where you think this is going to go?
So two separate thoughts here. First thought, Star Wars, George Lucas. First Star Wars movie makes a ton of fucking money. Nobody saw it coming. But Mr. Lucas decides to then start saying, oh, well, yeah, this is part of a 9-film arc. No, it wasn't. You fucking made that up, you fucking lying sack of shit. You never had fucking 9 films fucking mapped out. You were grasping at fucking straws to the point where you had to bring on other writers to help you finish the 2 sequels, let alone, the other films and shit. So the idea that something is actually mapped out before a deal is in place is total fucking bullshit. You know what was mapped out? Don Callis going to AEW. This is what this whole fucking thing was about, is AEW getting Don Callis. That's it, period. Kenny Omega was behind the fact that they needed that talent and that mind creatively to get in that company. So they struck up a deal basically saying, hey, we're going to give you exposure on our show by taking your belt and putting it on our show, right? We don't have any plans. Well, you know what? In fact, give us the Good Brothers, and then they can come on our show too, so we can show that you have talent on our show. And you know what? We'll let Kenny fly on the jet and can come to Impact, to show that he's the champion. That's all the fucking thing was. That's what this deal was. Now, my second thought is this. Dave Meltzer calls himself a fucking journalist. But Dave Meltzer, in this fucking scenario, says, but before Omega ever won the title, they had their battle plan all mapped out on what was going to be, who was going to be on the show, and when it was going to be, and when Impact can get their title back. That was all part of the deal way ahead of time. Well, you know what? Apparently, they're the quietest, most tight-kept motherfucking secret keepers ever, because Mr. Journalist fucking released a piece of journalism that says, well, the sky might be a different color, but we won't know what that color is until they decide to tell us what that color is. And they've thought about it already, and they probably know what it is, but until they are ready to tell us what it is, we don't really know what it is. And I'm not even sure right now if the sky is really the sky, but I can guarantee you that 3 people I know say the sky isn't the sky, it's really the ground. Fuck you, Dave Meltzer, and you just putting out fucking generic bullshit like this and calling yourself a fucking reporter. Oh, geez. Impact had an idea for who the title will go to when this whole thing wraps up. No, really? Next, you're going to tell me Impact knows what they did are fucking on TV. No shit, Sherlock.
Wow. Well, let's move over to you. Sin City Steve, what's your take? I mean, Kenny, we know eventually will. Well, you know what? Let me ask you this question instead. I see John in the chat. He made a pretty interesting statement here, and you tell me what your thought is on this, and you can relate that to the article. He says Kenny Omega will probably only lose each title in a triple threat match, fatal 4-way, etc., where he doesn't eat the pin. Prove me wrong. What's your take on that?
I think that's completely spot on. I think that, unfortunately, for those people that are itching to see Kenny Omega eat the pin and take the actual loss in a match, I don't necessarily see that happening. And obviously that is complete. You can say that it's selfish, but another way to look at it is that AEW is protecting their brand. The fact is, this definitely should have all been mapped out beforehand. Anybody that has any amount of foresight whatsoever should make up these kind of story arcs and actually have a date when it's going to begin, when it's going to end, what major events are going to happen throughout that storyline as essentially mile markers or, chapters or however you choose to look at it. So the fact that, some people are saying that this, it's preposterous for this to be already determined or whatever, just shows honestly the lack of foresight on their part and the fact that they're used to WWE booking where it's seemingly fly by the seat of your ass.
And even Steve, even with that, the WWE for the long-term angles a lot of times have shit in place
for most of the time. But as far as recent years, there have been numerous occasions where, and again, to tie it back to Dave Meltzer, plans change and things are completely making a left turn somewhere. So I think that it's, I think that the whole meme of WWE and having coherent booking and, and having all the fun shit that they're known to do where they don't believe in storyline cohesion. And it all holds true, especially recently. And unfortunately, many wrestling fans have gotten used to that fact. Long-term storyline building and slow burns really don't exist all that frequently. We're starting to finally see it come back to WWE with Roman Reigns and the angle that they're working, with the bloodline and, the whole head of the table thing. Right. But there's no way in the world that this shit wasn't all predetermined beforehand. And before Tony Khan signed off on the fact that Kenny Omega is going to have to lose a match, he's got to know who he's going to be in there with. And who's going to, quite frankly, eat the pin. You know what's really interesting that you just said that? What if that wasn't the case? What if it's not the case? What if Meltzer's putting this out there, being Dave Meltzer, to basically be the generic placeholder, right? But the honest answer is it's not AEW. It's Impact Wrestling. Think of it this way. Impact Wrestling is so desperate for attention and what they need
that they're basically bowing down and saying, hey, oh, wait, Kenny was, oh, they're not, we wanted to have the belt back probably. Well, we're thinking of putting it on Moose. Is that okay? No, it's not cool. We're going to keep it on Kenny for now. They're being dictated by AEW. I think Meltzer, I didn't even think of that. Meltzer fucking, again, threw out the fucking wrong direction so that the truth is not fucking known, which is Impact is a fucking scuttlebutt company that doesn't know their head from their ass right now.
Man, Simon Street, a lot was just said, so I'm gonna let you get in on this. But answer this. Chris want to know: is that Matt Michaels ranting or Jim Cornette? Maybe you can answer that for Chris.
You want me to answer that question? That's
you don't have to. It's just, no, man. Go ahead. What's your take, brother?
You know what? I'll be honest with you, man. Everybody's just tickled pink by this whole Kenny Omega with all these fucking belts. I'm gonna be honest with you. My pink is not tickled at all. I've not been excited about it. It's just not. I'm sorry. It just be honest. It's not never been excited about it, man. And I've said it before.
New shirt coming soon. My pink isn't tickled.
For real, it's just like, look, I want to give a full shit about this, but I don't give a full shit. So I'm only gonna give 3/4 shit, and that little bit of shit is this. I'll say that there's some people I'd like to see take the Impact title. I know y'all said before certain people would be good to be on Impact. Michaels had mentioned Jungle Boy would be a good person. I am agreeing with Michaela in the chat. I would like to see someone like a Pentagon or Phoenix take it off of him, go to Impact. I think that might work a lot better in that situation, because then you have somebody, especially Pentagon, who is familiar and something that him and Phoenix, either or. It's something that I think would lend well to Impact. And yes, I do agree that Impact needs something, because they come from a long lineage of barely surviving like a bunch of cockroaches as a business. And it sucks because every time they survive, they have a good talent roster. So it's not the talent, it's the fucking business. And it is what it is. I'd like to see that. So that's what hopefully I answered the damn question. Now, I can't tell you about whether if, Dave Meltzer is Dave LaGarca. I can't answer that shit because I don't know who the fuck Dave LaGarca is.
Dave LaGreca?
LaGreca, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't know who that is. I'm not even pretend to know.
Dave LaGarca, ladies and gentlemen, is he's a pickler in Wisconsin. So no, you know what's interesting too, Simon, that now that you said that, like in that frame of mind and along the Jungle Boy thought too, isn't it sad that we're coming up with the AEW wrestlers who should go to Impact to make impacts? That's why I'm saying Impact doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
Even with the talent that they do have, that they could put in a position to make Impact shine, that's on their roster right now, it looks like from a consumer standpoint that they haven't been doing that. And I get it. We get fickle and we think we know better than who's running the company. I get that.
Guys,
evident. It looks evident.
The Anthem board members have put Tommy Dreamer now to watch over what Scott D'Amore has been doing, because apparently what Scott been doing hasn't been working. So we're going to see some changes. We're going to see something different now that Tommy Dreamer is going to be over his shoulder. Right. So just stop it, okay? Stop it. All right.
Hopefully there's not a sandwich anywhere near, because Dreamer won't get any work done. Wow. Oh, man.
Oh, good. Can I go to the third topic, please? Thank you. All right. Our third topic, Eric Bischoff says current wrestling industry generally disappoints him. So let me just kind of read his quote. Oh, you know, I would be disingenuous if I just pull names out of here off the top of my head at this point, because I don't. The truth is, I don't watch enough of the product to have a feel anymore. I'm just not interested in what I see right now. And I do drop in. I don't want to suggest that I never watch it. I do watch it, hoping something is going to catch my imagination. And if there's something that piques my interest, I'll tune in and I'll check it out. But more often than not, I'm generally disappointed. End quote. And the writer just sums up by saying, we certainly wonder if pro wrestling as a whole will improve their products as pro wrestling continues to evolve through the years with many new aspects given more focus. All right, over to you this time, Simon Street, for you to kick off our last one. Eric Bischoff said that the current wrestling industry generally disappoints him, and he just broke down why that is the case. He's just haven't really found anything. You think he's got a is out of all the wrestling that's being shown, would you agree that there's nothing that catches his interest at all, and it's just disappointing from all promotions and all the way around?
Well, speaking of somebody whose peak isn't tickled, is definitely Eric Bischoff, because apparently week in, week out, he is just disappointed with wrestling in general today. The second thing that I do to answer your question, he does not have a point, at least that everybody shares. It's just his point. But the question I have is ringside news. What are you doing? Did you couldn't find all the juicy tidbits of what was happening in wrestling this week? You was like, hey man, we ain't got shit for the article today. What we gonna do? Oh, let's check and see what Eric Bischoff is bitching and complaining about this week, and we'll make an article out of it. Is this like the third article y'all have done for 3 count in like a month, maybe, with Eric Bischoff bitching and complaining?
Well, it's because they listen to 83 weeks, and it's easier to write an article by just listening to a show and then quoting what they said.
That's lazy as shit. But
yeah, we don't get paid for this shit, but those guys get paid fucking right.
What is going on with the world?
All right, that's your take there. Let me move
That's
over.
my take. I'm done. Pass it
All
on.
right. Let me jump over next to you there, Matt Michaels. It's very disappointing all the way around. When he turns it on, there's nothing that catches that guy interest at all. I mean, Roman Reigns pops up, Sami Zayn, he goes, oh, horrible flip off, turns it right back off and goes back to doing something else. For real, that's the case?
So the most ironic thing about this is here's a guy who says he doesn't fucking know anything about what's going on in the business, who was literally head fucking overseer of a fucking product of the WWE just a fucking year and a half or so ago. Mm-hmm. So no wonder he got fired, because he allegedly didn't even know what was even happening on their show. The other thing that is amazing is that apparently he doesn't know anything that's going on in wrestling. He doesn't pay too much attention, except when the paycheck is cut for him to show up at a debate on fucking AEW. Eric Bischoff is full of shit, just like Dave Meltzer right now. You know, that's it. You're just trying to get your fucking headlines in there and get people like this to pick up on it, because this is cheap fucking plug for your own show. And that's it. He's pissing me off too.
Sin City, do you concur with everything?
1000%.
Okay.
Obviously, this is Eric Bischoff doing his damnedest to stay relevant. It's unbelievable, because he'll say this, to inside the ropes, and go off about the current state of pro wrestling like he does every single week. But Matt hit the nail on the head. Once those checks come in from AEW, he doesn't have a problem cashing them some bitches. So obviously we can look forward to seeing him on AEW Dynamite next month when, we'll have the fucking Pinnacle and the Inner Circle in a fucking debate, or some other sort of a fucking corny ass interchangeable press conference that they choose to call something gimmicky.
Yeah.
And again, he'll show up as Mr. Bischoff has a question.
Of course.
Like no one knows who the fuck this guy is. Oh, ha, ha, ha. That's so funny. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think that more than anything, this is just him trying to stay relevant. It's just him keeping his name out there. I mean, it's smart for, for his brand and him continuing to stay out there, but I don't put any stock into virtually anything that Eric Bischoff says involving the wrestling business at all.
I just feel bad for him because, brother, you ain't got no hobbies or nothing like that. Like nothing's floating your boat to where you just
talking
complain
shit about
the
wrestling.
job. I guess. I mean, brother, go get a nice book, sit under a tree next to a stream, and live your life, man.
Well, hey, he does. He lives in Cody, Wyoming. Now, if you're familiar with Cody, Wyoming,
No, I'm not.
you're probably grasping at straws to entertain yourself anyway. So this is a good way to do it.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for the 3 count. And we thank everybody for joining and putting in your comments. And Chris answered his own question. He said, yep, definitely Jim Cornette. That's right.
Goddamn, cheeseburger, double cheese.
That's right.
Isn't it amazing that fucking Bruce Pritchard can do a fucking awful impersonation of Jim Cornette? Now every single one of us hacks just fucking uses Bruce Pritchard's fucking impersonation as Jim Cornette.
True that. Guys, we're gonna do our final thoughts as we get ready to end the show. So I'm gonna start with you, Simon Street. What do you want the good people to know?
Just want the good people to know that, this weekend was great. Coming up is going to be, 4th of July. Great time in our country. Time for us to look back at our country and founding independence and whatnot. And, a lot of us are going to have that Monday to come into work that following Monday. Please do something that I'm going to be doing. Catch up on wrestling. Catch up on anything that you feel you need to do, because you don't have to fucking be at work, and just catch up on it. But outside of that, everybody be good. Thank you so much for supporting us. We cannot do this without you. We really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. And as Matt Michael says, we don't get paid for this. So if you could be giving generous donations, we appreciate that as well. Every little bit does count. And for those who have given generously, we appreciate you more than you ever will know.
Do you know how they can give generously?
I thought you were going to say that. I didn't want to take that away.
Well,
he doesn't even know how. He doesn't know.
Okay, give money to Simon Street, $. No, usually Matt Michaels, Impact is the one that says that.
Well, I mean, I'm asking you, but look, Vegas Badboyz, if you got the Cash app, use the money sign, Vegas Badboyz with the Z, send whatever you like, whatever donation we accepted. All of that we use to help promote our podcast through our social media, so more people can find us and enjoy the show just as you. Whatever you send in is definitely, we're grateful. Sin City Steve, what you want to tell the good people?
Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, all the fun stuff that you guys do. We do this for you. So definitely it's appreciated for sure. Also, special shout out to every man and woman serving this country on lands both foreign and domestic. Thank you for doing what you do. You enable us to do this show. So thank you. And last but certainly not least, repsports.com, reppsports.com. Go there for all of your pre-workout, energy drink, and general wellness needs. Again, repsports, reppsports.com. Use promo code Vegas at checkout and save yourself 15%.
No doubt. Thank you much for that. Matt Michaels, man, what you want to tell the good people?
So this past couple days ago, Melissa Coates, Super Genie, passed away. She was only 50 years old. She was a world-class bodybuilder, and got into wrestling by training with Killer Kowalski at that school there, and then went to UPW in the early 2000s as well. Made her rounds, did different things, and became most associated with being Sabu's manager and his his girl as well, and she was one of the sweetest people. The different tributes that have been out there, just all had that same sentiment. She was just amazingly sweet and nice, and when she lost her leg, now just months ago, essentially, there was never any public in idea that this might be something that would potentially lead to her death. We don't know if that actually did. So this is something that she was given an obstacle. She definitely was working through it, and it's just sad to see another person who was a very, very kind and nice person pass away. And it's just not cool. It's not cool to see these coming up as they keep coming up. Yeah, just too many, and too many young people, so
Yeah.
Yeah, so hope that Sabu's doing okay. And it's just a huge part of the community that was affected, and also being a local here in Las Vegas, that also is just another part of it that makes it sad.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Matt Michaels. Let's just keep her family and all in prayers and good spirits, and during this time, and we'll just keep going from there. So with that, we thank everybody for listening to us or watching us, and we ask you to continue to support. We thank you for being in the chat. Shout out to Michaela, who definitely said, hey, definitely who follow us, and had a great time tonight. So we appreciate you being on. And of course, everyone else who popped on, we appreciate you as well. It's always good to see you, John and Chris and all. So with that, we will see you guys next week. Have fun, and